My name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Melina. This is chapter 12, Melina's secret admirer. As of now, Melina had been living in the court of Sassari for 6 years, and all the nobles who visited the court greatly admired her beauty, wit, and cynicism. Melina kept things interesting, as some of her lovers would say, and her most common patrons were men over 50. Of the old noble families. Melina did engage younger men, though apparently she did not consort with them. And at times she had 4 regulars, and these older widow gentlemen visited her twice or even thrice a week. And Melina arranged things in such a fashion to avoid their visitations overlapping. And in one cool spring morning, Dalmir Culpepper of Aragon visited Melina, and Dalmir had not seen Melina in quite a long time. And while visiting the gaming house, he was approached by a lad clad in a steel armor, and the lad stepped beside him and said in a low voice, "Are you visiting the Danes familiar today?" Frowning, Dalmir said, "Are you drunk, child? You have either neither the wealth nor the right to speak to me in such an informal fashion." "Sir, I am not drunk, nor am I a pauper. Think of me as a messenger." "Stay away from Melina," said the young man before leaving. Dalmir yawned and he continued with his game. Bors, who was acting as his bodyguard, asked, "What was that all about?" Dalmir shrugged his shoulders and said, the lad must be mad with love, and did you see the glint in his eye? "Ah, lads, possessing men like that, I was a great headache for my pretty Melina." "I think I know the identity of that young man," said Bors, throwing the dice. "And pray do tell me, who is that unscrupulous young man?" said Dalmir, smiling. "I would if I could, and I'm not too eager to die in a pointless duel," said Bors, yawning. Dalmir laughed when he realized the identity of the armored lad. Bors chuckled, and then he noted that his charge had gotten the hint. Around dusk, Melina was usually off duty, and she rarely received people at night. And at the time she was being trailed as usual by Sir Walter, and while Melina performed her dusk libation, Sir Walter was approached by a young man clad in a steel armor, and he was guarding the door into the bathroom while he was dozing off within his seat. He looked up and he saw the young man in the armor, and he had heard rumors of a recent commotion caused by this stranger. And the young man said to Sir Walter, "You call yourself a knight, not lifting a finger to help a maiden in need?" "And good evening to you as well, stranger," said Sir Walter, yawning, and he added, "Aren't you hot inside that armor?" "Mind your own business. I am here to challenge you to a duel to take your place as Melina's guardian," said the young man, unsheathing his rapier. "You misunderstand me. I am not Melina's guardian, nor am I her consort, as your tone seems to imply. So there is no need to show animosity towards me. My relation with her is purely professional. She hired me to follow her around and keep people from interrupting her bath time," explained Sir Walter, yawning. "Swear on your honor as your knight. Swear that you speak the truth," said the lad in a somewhat high-pitched voice. "My honor is my life," said Sir Walter before settling down on his seat. The lad sheathed his sword and then he left, and when he was gone, Melina opened the bathroom door and she peeped outside and she asked cautiously, "Is he gone?" "Yes," said Sir Walter, nodding. "Good grief. I wish I had never dueled that little turd," said Melina, entering her bedroom while clad in a bath towel. "What's done is done, Melina, and one cannot blame you for having a competitive nature, and truly it is one of your most positive qualities," said Sir Walter. Like clockwork, Franny entered the room to comb Melina's hair and to pick out a new dress for the evening, and after she was done, she said, "I saw him on the way to your room, and he asked me to deliver this letter to you, Melina. Do you want to read it?" "No, just send him my usual response," said Melina, looking through her jewelry box. "But I feel sorry for him. He means well, and he wants to marry you in spite of everything," said Franny, admiring a large, heart-shaped topaz ornament. "You mean he wants to marry me despite being used goods," corrected Melina. "I wouldn't put it that way," said Franny. "I would gladly take your hand in marriage as you are now, if I wasn't already bound to another," said Sir Walter. "You flatter me, Sir Walter dear," said Melina, giggling. After pestering Melina during her bath time, the secret admirer went to bother Baron, and Baron was watching the sunset while resting in a hammock, and his nurse had brought him a baby bottle filled with fresh milk straight from the cow. And baby bottles back then were made of ceramic, and the tin was made of leather. Selina had commissioned for Baron one made of glass and the tin made of rubber, and this made the bottle easier to clean, and innovative design is still being used today. Baron was enjoying with contentment the bottle when the lad clad in armor noisily sat before him. Baron stopped drinking his milk and he said, "Hi, Agustina." "That isn't my name anymore, Baron," said the lad clad in armor, and she added, How do you come to know my true identity?" "Melina told me that was your name, and most people here I was speaking of you out of fear of dueling you, but I'm not afraid. I could beat you with my hand tied behind my back," said Baron, pointing with his bottle. "Aren't you a little old to be drinking from a baby bottle?" retorted Augustus. "Not really. In relation to human lifespan, I am practically a newborn," said Baron, continuing to drink his milk. Because like Baron is a little elf boy, so you know. At the young age, obviously, it's like a baby in comparison to how long elves live. Yeah. Augustus watched Baron drink his milk in silence, and then I was the adopted son of Impedia, and he started his life as Agustina of Aragon, and he belonged to one of the declining knight class, and he grew up idolizing the father he barely knew, and in the end he resolved to become a knight, and he had the blood and rank of a knight. Only what was between his legs was the true problem. And in order to legally change gender, he had to undergo a gauntlet, and the gauntlet varied from region to region. In Sassari, he had to win 100 duels in a row, and it took Augustus 2 years to complete his gauntlet, and as a result, he got into the habit of dueling on a daily basis. And since his dueling habits was starting to become a problem, Melina took it upon herself to defeat Augustus, and ever since then, Melina had been pastored by Augustus. So like over there in the medieval society, if like a woman wants to be perceived by society as a man and be treated as a man, at least in the town of Sassari, all she has to do is win 100 duels, and then everyone in town has to perceive her as a man and treat her as a man. Yeah?
Yeah.
Simple stuff. When he was done, John lazily, Augustus was not used to speaking with little children, and he brought out from his pocket an almond cookie wrapped in a handkerchief. Augustus handed the cookie to Baron, who said after eating the cookie, "You won't get to Melina through me." "I am not so base as to use a child for my own selfish desires," said Augustus. "Aren't you hot inside that armor?" commented Baron. "Not really. In fact, it is a bit chilly today," said Augustus, pulling his cape closer to his shoulder. "Melina doesn't like the way you keep bothering her clients. They haven't done anything to deserve a beating from you," said Baron. "You are too young to understand, Baron," said Augustus. "Yeah. And you are only 8 years my seniors. 8 years is less than a month for elven lifespan," said Baron, sitting up. Augustus chuckled but said nothing, and Baron continued, standing up and pointing at Augustus. "I don't like you, and Melina doesn't like you, so leave us in peace." Augustus' mouth was hidden beneath his helmet, though Baron could see the mocking brown eyes. Baron's attention was distracted when he noticed that his bottle had fallen to the ground, and he was relieved to see that the glass had not shattered. And Baron narrowed his eyes before running off to the Dane's pavilion, and his nurse followed behind him. Augustus was left alone in the darkness. A few hours before midnight, Augustus knocked at Cedric's door, and Cedric was known to have irregular sleeping habits, and he usually went to sleep either at midnight or an hour after midnight. So he expected Cedric to still be wide awake. Cedric opened the door, and he swiftly closed it as soon as he saw the still knight standing before him. Augustus tried opening the door, but it was bolted shut. "Melina already warned me about you, so go away. Shoo, shoo," said Cedric. "I'm not here to quarrel with you, wizard. Open the door. I wish to speak to you," said Augustus, knocking. "It's late. Can't this wait till tomorrow?" said Cedric. "I know that you sleep later at night, and please open the door. I will break it down," insisted Augustus, knocking louder. Gareth came from another room wearing his nightgown, and he pushed Augustus aside and said, "Cedric, let the poor bastard in already, and I want to get some sleep." Cedric hesitated for a moment, and then he said, "I will let you in, but only under the condition that you behave yourself." "I am not a child, Cedric. I know how to comport myself," said Augustus. "Sure you do," said Cedric, chuckling, while hiding behind the safety of his locked door. He waited a few minutes to let Augustus inside, and Augustus had never been inside Cedric's room, and he was much disappointed to notice the absence of pentagram, piles of spellbooks, and other visual signs of a wizard's residence. Cedric did have all of the above when he was immersed in some magical research. However, he always took care to clean up afterwards. He was a fastidious neat freak, and no different from Melina in this regard. So yeah, so like he had all of the magic stuff, but you know, he cleans up after himself, so you know, you'll never see the place untidy. Augustus pulled up a chair near the writing table and he sat down, and Cedric sat on the bed facing his unwelcome visitor. Augustus asked, "How fares your magical research?" "It's progressing steadily," said Cedric. "Does your research have any war-time applications?" inquired Augustus. "Why, do you want me to ensure your sword with an element? What sort of gimmick you warriors are so fond of?" inquired Cedric Johnny. "Other than elemental enchantment, what other sort of magic can be applied to a weapon?" inquired Augustus. "It all depends on the limited scope of your imagination." What today's warriors consider useful," said Cedric. "Tell me, what do you really want?" "And while pretend to be interested in my work, you wish to speak about Melina, so out with it. I haven't the time to waste on petty small talk." Augustus sat a moment to carefully plan out his words, all the while Cedric watched Augustus with his disdainful blue eyes. In the end, Augustus said, "I want a sword with enough magical powers to defeat my enemy." Johnny Cedric said, "What sort of powers do you want the sword to have?" "I want a steel sword that shoots lightning, and I wanted to amplify my physical abilities tenfold, and I wanted to give me the ability to fly and to walk on water, and to have a magic shield to protect me from arrows, and I wanted to also help me see into the future far enough to predict my foe's next movement," said Augustus. "Would you like the sword to also turn lead into gold, water into wine? I can also make it wipe your bun after you use the bathroom," said Cedric, laughing. "Spare me your petty sarcasm. Can you make it happen?" inquired Augustus. "I have such a sword already made," said Cedric, entering his closet. In one side he had 20 identical matrons. On the other hand was a bizarre armor filled with the weapons of all shapes and sizes. Augustus wanted to take a closer look, but Cedric closed the closet quickly after finding what he was looking for, and he came out from there carrying an exquisite gem-encrusted bastard sword. The bastard sword were the length between a short and a long sword. So it's like not too short. It's just right. It's the Goldilocks sword. Not too long, not too short. Just right. The blade was decorated with runes. Cedric showed the sword to Augustus, and he put it within the hilt. And before handing the sword to Augustus, he said, "The hilt seals away the magic, and try not to use such a dangerous weapon among innocent bystanders." "I understand," said Augustus, nodding, and he added, "How come you have such a sword already forged?" "This isn't the first time some fool has requested a sword of this nature, and I hope you enjoy your toy sword. Now be off with you," said Cedric, opening the door of his room. Augustus left happily after strapping the new sword to his belt, and he was about to leave when he asked, "How do I activate the lightning attack?" "This sword is idiot-proof. Just point it at your target and yell, 'Lightning attack!'" "Here's a list of all of the word commands and the sword motions required. Now be gone out," I said Cedric, handing a paper to Augustus before pushing him out of the room. This isn't the first idiot sword I made. Time, bro? Bro?
10 minutes.
With his new sword, Augustus went to the forest to face Melina, and when walking there, Augustus was gripped with a certain superstitious paranoia towards the sword. And like all knights, Augustus liked magical weapons, but he distrusted the wizard who made them. Augustus feared that it was just a glorified bastard sword, and before entering the woods, Augustus unsheathed the sword and he yelled, "Lightning attack!" The sword shot a beam of lightning from the blade towards the ground, and the deafening sound of the attack left Augustus' ears ringing, and he made a point to note to aim the attack a little further away next time. And Augustus then tried a few of the abilities, like the one of walking on water, and the sword did levitate him over the water, and when he was satisfied that the sword did what it was supposed to, he entered the forest to find Melina. And there was a thick fog over the forest, and Augustus wondered how there could be such a fog since the forest was less than a rice field in size. After 2 hours, Augustus left the forest, and he had grown weary of looking for Melina and not finding her. And around midnight, he saw her standing by the lake, and her thin nightgown was fluttering in the wind, and the dark water shimmered delicately the pale light of the sky bell. And without turning around, Melina said, "Did you have fun playing with your new toy? I had it especially made just for you. I challenge you to a duel, Melina, and if I win, you must agree to marry me. Face me if you are not a coward," said Augustus, holding his new bastard sword. He then hesitated and sheathed the sword, and he instead decided to rely on his father's rapier at the last moment. And Melina pouted and said, Having second thoughts about the new sword, it is not as if I had it tweaked or anything. It is a fine quality sword, with far better enchantments than the ones you find in the tower. Augustus knew by now that Melina was not the kind to lie to a person, though he did not trust her cool attitude, and without warning, Melina said, "I accept." Augustus was used to Melina's surprise attack, and he expected her to try to disarm it as she had done the first time they had duel. Melina started the disarming maneuver, but instead she unsheathed the bastard sword slightly before swiftly yelling, "Lightning!" And since the sword was making contact with Augustus' armor, he ended up getting electrocuted. And he felt the lightning pierce every fiber of his being, and he fell to the ground twitching for a few minutes, and laughing, Melina kissed his thighs while he was down. And as she did, she said, "It is only a light taser. This is what you get for wearing a steel armor near a lightning weapon." Cursing, Augustus staggered to his feet, and he tried the lightning attack, aiming straight at Melina, who was but a few paces away. And as the lightning discharged, it turned to sunflower petals, and the sword began to hum sinisterly as the steel became glassy and transparent, and Augustus' body began to convulse until it acquired the form of an unfamiliar hairy form, and to Augustus it seemed as if Melina had quadrupled in size. And Melina disdainfully picked up Augustus in her arms, and Augustus saw that his hollow armor on the ground. Smiling, Melina said, "This form suits you rather well," like she turned him into like an animal. And that's why to Augustus it seemed like he was shrinking in size and whatnot. Augustus tried speaking, but only a faint whine escaped from his mouth. "I did not change your form, nor did I dissipate the lightning. You will remain as thus until you learn your lesson, I think. Perhaps you could regain your form sooner if I work up the desire to see you change back to normal," said Melina. Melina carried Augustus back to her room, and she took him to her bathroom and gave him a bath. And while Augustus was getting dry with a towel, he was able to see what he had become. Augustus thought he looked like either a weasel or a ferret, and he had a large patch of white hair that went from his head to his tail, and he was also broader with a stronger build, and the rest of his furry body was black, and his face was small, and his ears hardly visible, and he was confronted by his strong, stubby legs which had 5 toes in each claw. Augustus whimpered when he saw his new form, and Melina commented, "Don't give me that look. You did this to yourself." After drying Augustus, Melina put a pink ribbon around his neck, and she laid Augustus down in the bed reserved for Baron's puppy. And the bed was open and used as Baron slept with his doggo beside him. Alright, so, time, Bill?
6 minutes.
Alright, we're done. Bye-bye.